Ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between, hello, welcome to the channel. We had like a discussion the other day on the main channel, because if you don't know, I do like Eurovision reactions, and there was a lot of debating just going on in the comment section, because people are very sensitive when it comes to Eurovision. But anyways, I realized that I need to... Now, I know that the northern part of Ireland... Okay, the island is Ireland, but the northern region of it is the Republic of Ireland. No. Is Ireland, and they're a part of the UK. Now, the southern region of Ireland is the Republic of Ireland, and they're their own separate thing. There was a whole war, the Troubles, y'all fought for forever, but I wanted to do another reaction just to, like, make the info more concrete, because I do still mix it up sometimes. Y'all gotta understand, I have my own life and, like, studies that I'm also doing in real life, aside from, like, 10-minute videos I do on YouTube once a week. You know, so don't expect me to always know everything. Don't expect me to know nothing, actually. I'm just here to have fun. But that being said, we're going to be checking out why Ireland split into the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. Now again, Northern Ireland is a part of the UK. The southern region, the Republic, is their own thing. They're a republic. They gained independence, kind of like how we, the US, did. Woo! Fight the British! Anyways, let's get into the video. Subscribe if you're new here. Whatever content you want to see, let me know. And yeah, let's do one for the Irish people. Because y'all are always asking...
This is the island of...
I always do English videos, but I got a lot of Scottish and Irish people on the channel too, so here's one for y'all.
This is the island of Ireland. The island is politically split between the Republic of Ireland, an independent country, and Northern Ireland, which, together with Scotland, England, and Wales, form the United Kingdom. Now
this itty-bitty ass section, why didn't y'all just cross it right here and just give him the whole north? What's going on right here? Why did the Republic keep this section? I would have just said here, just take it, it's closer to you, you know?
But why exactly is Ireland split?
And what's this
and when
little
did it
one?
happen?
That
to
area.
fully understand the situation, we need to go all the way back to the 12th century. After the Normans had successfully invaded England and taken the throne, they decided to invade Ireland. Henry II, with the authorization of Pope...
Sorry to pause it, but William the Conqueror? Ew. The Conqueror? That means you're conquering other people who are already established. The disrespect. 1066, thank God I was born in the 21st century.
Ireland. Henry II, with the authorization of Pope Adrian IV to strengthen the papacy's control over the Irish Church, landed in Ireland in 1171 and took control of large parts of the island. And in the following year, the Lordship of Ireland was created, in which the Lord of Ireland was also the King of England. The Lordship of Ireland was a papal possession held by the King of England. This was the beginning of what would become centuries of English and later British rule over the island of Ireland. Officially, the Lordship of Ireland ruled over the entire island, but in reality, control is much less than this.
But again, it's so wild. How can you just pull up to someone's shore? Kind of like what Russia is doing to Ukraine right now. Like, there's people already... Like what we did to the Native Americans. There's an established community of people living on this land. They already have their own culture, customs, way of living. And you just pull up and say, hey, I rule this now. You need to change everything about yourself and adopt to me. Who do you think you are, you know? Who did this Pope think he was, scurrying over to the shores of Ireland? Mind your business. Take your popeness back to wherever popes come from. Italy or something.
And over the years, English control of Ireland receded over time.
Okay.
This was a time before there was a religious difference between Ireland and England. The English and the Native Irish were both Catholic nations, as this was a time before the emergence of Protestantism. So many of the Normans in Ireland assimilated into Irish culture, and some were said to have become more Irish than the Irish themselves. Laws were introduced which banned intermarriage between English settlers and the Gaelic Irish.
Now that's just... How are you... It's so tiring. Like, just the way that history has gone down. How do you go to someone else's shore and say, hey, we're taking over, we want you to be a part of our community. Actually, we don't even care if you'd be a part of our community, we just want this land. And our people are... our pure people are not allowed to mitigate with, or migrate with your people. Then why are you on their land, you know? I don't get it, but whatever. Let's keep going.
As well as a ban on the use of the Irish language.
Oh! You nomads, Normans, or whatever, the English of back in the day were bold. Again, you pull up on someone else's land and then say, not only can you not, what do you call it? Interracial marriages, but you can't even speak your own language? Why? It's so gross, actually. That's so disgusting. Like, because my family, we're from Nigeria. My mom speaks Igbo. And Nigeria was actually colonized by the British. Hello. There's a history lesson. But imagine if they pulled up and said, hey, you guys cannot... Well, they forced Christianity onto them. But imagine if they also said, you cannot speak Igbo anymore. That is so dehumanizing and just like... Thank God for rights. Thank you, America. Even though you kind of were just as bad as the British because the Native Americans were already here. But that's beside the point. At least we got rights. That's ridiculous. How dare they?
These laws were largely ineffective. By the late 15th century, English rule was limited to an area known as the Pale. The early 16th century and what became known as the Protestant Reformation, in which many European powers turned their back on the Roman Catholic Church, forming a new branch of the Christian faith.
Okay, we gotta do a history lesson then on Christianity, or Catholicism, I guess, because why were they all leaving? What was so great about Protestantism? From what I was remembering, there was a king who like wanted to divorce his wife but couldn't, so he made a whole new religion. Is that it? Some dude wanted to put his wiener in someone else, and so he made a whole new religion, which caused endless wars. Ridiculous.
Although the Reformation was about religion, it also had a lot to do with politics as well. With Henry VIII as the King of England, the Pope refused to annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon.
Yeah. Because a homie wanted to stick his 10th century wiener in someone else, he had to make a whole new religion, which just catapulted and like escalated into nonsense. You know, a lot of issues would have been just solved if homie was assassinated. No? He beheaded all his wives, why couldn't they just behead him? How did he die? Let me know.
This, as well as other contributing factors, caused Henry VIII to break away from the Roman Catholic Church and establish the Church of England with himself as the leader. With this, the political situation in Ireland became uncertain, as Ireland was a papal possession with the King of England as Lord of Ireland. In 1542, after an act of Irish Parliament, Henry VIII was proclaimed King of Ireland.
So they did have a parliament at least.
As the Lordship of Ireland became the Kingdom of Ireland. However, Henry VIII was not recognised by the Catholic powers throughout Europe. After Henry VIII's death in 1547, his Protestant-raised 9-year-old son Edward VI ascended to the throne, but he...
At 9? And he died? Ooh. That's crazy, because the Queen is like pushing 100 now. Queen Elizabeth. And homie passed when he was 15. This little dude. But again, it was the 1500s, so medicine has advanced a lot.
Died of illness just a few years later at the age of 15.
Sad.
Mary I, Henry VIII's daughter, was next in line to the throne, and since Mary was nearly 20 years older than her half-brother Edward, she was raised before the Protestant Reformation and was therefore Catholic. Because of this, Mary I was recognised as the Queen of Ireland.
Yeah, because she kind of has like a connection to him. But also I'm wondering, what about Elizabeth I? Why did she just get skipped over? So you've got Henry, whatever, and all his wives who have been killed, ridiculous man, and these are all his children. That's how a family tree works, correct? And so they went over to marry Queen Elizabeth. When does Queen Elizabeth I reign? I'm assuming Mary's going to die at some point. Let's see.
For Catholic. Because of this, Mary I was recognised as the Queen of Ireland.
Shout out to Mary.
Ireland had remained loyal to the Pope, and the island was almost entirely Catholic. In 1603, after the death of Queen Elizabeth I, the last of the Tudor dynasty, James VI of Scotland also became King of England because... That's
wild. So you've got a Scottish king ruling over Ireland and England. The ties, man, the ties. And it looks like the first time they were introduced to the Scottish bloodline was James IV. Margaret Tudor, Queen of Scots. So yeah, there was a lot of blending going on, just not with the Irish people.
Because of his somewhat unique family ancestry, in which he was the son of Mary I, Queen of Scots, and also the great-great-grandson of Henry VII. He was therefore known as James I, King of England, and also King of Ireland as well.
Yeah.
This was known as the Union of the Crowns, in which Scotland, England, and Ireland all shared a common monarch.
I think that makes sense. It's the only issue, again, is there's no bloodline from actual Ireland. Like, why could they have their own parliament, but again, no interracial relations with Irish people? Because you've got a Scottish man now ruling over England and Ireland, and it makes sense for Scotland and England, but where's the Irish people come in? They're just, like, being dragged along here.
In 1609, under James I's reign, the Plantation of Ulster was a process by which Scottish and English settlers confiscated land from the Gaelic Irish.
jeez. Oh, whatever.
This was seen as a way to stop rebellion in the north, as Ulster had been a region of Ireland most resistant to English rule.
Yeah, fuckers, go back to your area. Mind your business. I really hate colonialism, imperialism, all that. It's terrible. Anyways, let's keep going.
Although there had been plenty of plantations in Ireland throughout the years, the plantation of Ulster is by far the most successful.
Now, when he keeps saying plantation, and that's why I kind of like made a face, because to me, plantation is again the house that the white family had and had all the slaves working the field. That's the plantation, where you work the fields and plant stuff, but you don't get paid for it, and you're abused. You know what I'm talking about, racism or whatever. So when he's saying plantation, I'm thinking the same history of African Americans happened in Ireland, but it's not the same, I guess. Like a plantation to y'all is different, I think.
And within just a few decades, the Protestant colonist population was thriving, and even made up a majority in some areas in the north. In 1641, Irish Catholics in Ulster staged a rebellion against the settlers, which led to the Irish Confederate Wars between the Irish Catholic Confederation and the Scottish and English settlers.
Well, yeah, what do you freaking expect? You've got to at least give them some rights. Give them something. Don't just be dragging them along. Because again, the Irish people have had no say on what's going on. It's just, oh, we got a Scottish king now. Oh, we have an English king now. But again, we're Irish, so what the heck? I feel bad for the Irish people. Because again, it's just like when we were getting tax out of our ass for tea and stamps and stuff. So we were like, okay, F the British. We're going to throw your tea in the harbor. We don't want your tea. So what? The Irish rebelled. That's what you get. That's what happens.
Most of the island of Ireland was under de facto Irish Catholic rule for several years. This was until 1649 when Oliver Cromwell and his new model army conquered Ireland after overthrowing the English monarchy, executing Charles I, and declaring himself Lord Protector of Scotland, England and Ireland.
So homie just comes out of nowhere and sticks it up the ass of the English, but he's still just dragging Ireland along. And also, the Republic of Ireland, I think this one is called. No. Because the Republic of Ireland is the green, white, and orange one. So I don't remember the name of the new area that they're called. But that's a cool flag, I guess.
Cromwell ruled over the three kingdoms until his death in 1658. During this time, there was more confiscation of land from the native Catholics, and anyone even suspected of being involved in the 1641 rebellion was executed. His son Richard very briefly ruled afterwards, but the monarchy was restored in 1660 when Charles II became king, son of the executed Charles I.
Okay, so they lost power, and then they just gained it right back. Huh. But, I don't know. At this point, did a democracy never say, oh, do we even want to be back in your little monarch family? Do we want to be ruled by you? Like, nobody else went against the monarchy?
Charles II was Protestant, but his brother James II had converted to Catholicism during his time in France.
He's funky looking. Like, and the thing is, though, back in the day, they thought they were dripped out with little Dalmatian cape, big old wig, and whatever you want to call this, necktie. Homie looks a mess, but he thought he was popping.
So when Charles II died in 1685, Scotland, England and Ireland once again had a Catholic monarch.
Okay.
At this point,
good
the
for
majority
the Irish,
of people in Scotland and England were Protestant, and many were uneasy with James II as their monarch. However, next in line to the throne was his daughter Mary, who was Protestant. This all changed in 1688 with the birth of his son, the would-be James III, who would undoubtedly be raised Catholic. The only reason his daughter Mary was Protestant was because his late brother and former king demanded she be raised as such. So with this change, it looked like Scotland and England would have a Catholic monarchy for the foreseeable future. The birth of the king's son sparked what became known as the Glorious Revolution, in which the two major political parties invited William of Orange to invade England and take the throne. William of Orange successfully defeated his father-in-law.
Aww, that's sad though, like families fighting. All just because of religion. This is not what like faith is about though. Protestant, Catholic, nobody cares, honestly. As long as you believe in the same God, that's all that matters. Humans are dumb.
He also happened to be his uncle, since William and Mary were first cousins, and they took the throne together.
First cousins? Ew. And this is when the deformities happen. Let's see. Because we've been seeing all these dripped out pictures and stuff, but you're about to see people with big old jaws, extended foreheads. First cousins? You couldn't find anyone else? So they have a problem with interracial relationships with the Irish, but he'll go for his cousin. Where's the logic? And I know I'm not the brightest when it comes to geography or history, but even I know this is stupid. Your first cousin?
as William III and Mary II,
Such
King and Queen
morals.
of England. Of course, this also made them King and Queen of Ireland, and with a Catholic majority, this was obviously...
So I'm sorry, if I was Irish, I'd be pissed. I got some incest people ruling over me. I'd be mad.
...not received well. This started a war in Ireland between the native Irish, led by James II, who were mainly Catholic, against the kingdoms of Scotland and England. The Williamite War...
The Jacobites! This is what they always talk... They lost. But this is what they always talk about in Outlander, when they tried to make them not be able to wear the... I'm sorry, I don't want to mess up the name, but like I think they're called kilts, the skirts with the plaid. When they said you can't do that, you can't speak your native language, you can't be Catholic... Like, so many different... They were stripping them of their identity. That was really the main point of it. Trying to make them feel inhuman. Taking away the Irishness of them, basically, was what the point was. And I'm pretty sure that, yeah, the Jacobites lost. So sad. You lost to freaking incest people.
Ireland resulted in victory for King William. For the next century, Catholic majority Ireland was ruled by a Protestant minority, known as the Protestant Ascendancy. In 1707, the Kingdom of Scotland and the Kingdom of England joined to create the Kingdom of Great Britain.
Ah, that's how the flag! Union Jack? That's cool, but again, I wish that there was some incorporation of the Irish flag, because you're ruling over Irish people, so incorporate them in the flag too. There's literally no Irishness in this flag, because he just showed it. It was the merging of the English flag, which is white and red, and the Scottish flag, which is white and blue. But where's the woman with her tits out in the wings, or in the harp? Where's the green, white, and orange? There's no Irishness here.
And then in 1798, there was an uprising against British rule in Ireland.
And this is when the Troubles happened, I believe.
In the Irish Rebellion of 1798, inspired by the French Revolution a decade earlier.
Nice.
The rebellion failed, but it caused a lot of uncertainty on the political situation of Ireland. There were concerns that Ireland might ally themselves with France and break away from British rule. So in 1801, Ireland joined the Union and became the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland.
Ah. Okay, so I guess Ireland changed their flag, because when did they get the X? I thought it was the blue harp thing.
Opposition to the Union was strong and occasionally
Ireland.
escalated into violence. The late 1800s saw a rise in demand for self-government.
Well, yeah, we started this video off in the 1500s, and that's when they first got, like, embarged on by the freaking Pope, and I think it was Henry or Edward or someone, one of the kings. Literally from the 1500s to the 1800s, the late 1800s, they've been ruled. Like, I don't blame them for wanting independence. Ireland demands home rule. They want to rule themselves. They've been pulled around for literally centuries.
And in 1886, the first Home Rule Bill was proposed. In response to this, the Liberal Unionist Party was created in...
No home rule? There are people who don't want independence? Let me know. If you're English, Irish, wherever you're from, what is your stance on this? What are the benefits of being home rule versus not being home rule and still having the crown rule you? Like, what's the benefits of both sides? Let me know.
Support of the Union and opposed Irish Home Rule. The bill failed, as did the second bill proposed in 1892, but in...
Yeah, they're not just going to let you leave.
In 1914, the third Home Rule Bill was passed. But 1914 was also the year in which World War I started, and therefore the bill had to be put on hold.
Yeah, bigger fish to fry here. Not to say that the Irish independence isn't a big thing, but World War I, that's a big deal. Was it World War I or II that America... we joined in II, I believe. Yeah.
With the British Army still occupied with the war in Europe, Irish Republicans staged a rebellion in Dublin called the Easter Rising, with a goal of putting an end to British rule in Ireland and establishing an Irish Republic. The rising took place over the course of just a few days, but nearly 500 people died, most of whom were civilians.
I kind of see it from both sides here. One, you don't want the English people ruling over you. I get that. But at the same time, like, was the rebellion worth those 500 civilians? I don't know. I just wish everybody had a democracy and ruled themselves. Like, within your own borders, mind your business.
But with far superior numbers, the British Army managed to suppress the rebellion. The result was an unconditional surrender by the rebel forces, and most of the rebel leaders were executed.
Really, though? You gotta kill them? That's so sad. Like, I get that they kind of, like, tried to mess with your power, but you didn't have to execute them. That's sad. That's sad. Gosh dang. I bet you they went down as martyrs, though, for a lot of people. But then there's also the ones who are like, no home rule, thinking these idiots, they shouldn't have done that. But I see both sides, honestly.
In the 1918 UK general election, an Irish political party called Sinn Féin, who supported Irish independence, and many of their members had participated in the Easter Rising, won 73 of the 105 Irish seats at the British Parliament.
Hey, dang.
But they chose to not take their seats at the British Parliament, and instead decided to form their own Irish Parliament and proclaim an Irish Republic, as in...
Hey, okay, and this is when we get the new flag. In my mind, I was just thinking, wouldn't you be able to... I guess it's kind of like American government, how even if the president, like, our president is a Democrat, obviously. It's like back when Barack Obama was president, he's a Democrat, but the Senate and House were all Republican. So you can pass or try to pass as many bills, bring so many different propositions, but they're never going to back you. So you're kind of like, you can't do anything because you have to all like agree on it. You have to have the majority vote. So I feel like if the Irish people did take the government, the British Parliament seats, it would be the same thing. Like you can't actually do anything because you're the minority. So I think it's actually smarter that they went ahead and made their own parliament, Irish parliament.
Newly independent country. The Irish Republic claimed the whole island of Ireland, but there was a lot of support for the Union in the north, especially...
This is what I envision whenever I think of Ireland. And people get mad and they're like, Favour, you need to know that there's a difference between the north and south. When I think of the island of Ireland, I just think of the island. But I do have to remember that the north is still British. But they're technically not. Ethnically, they're Irish, so whatever.
Especially in Ulster, in which 4 of the 9 counties won a unionist majority. This led to the Irish War for Independence, primarily between the IRA and the British Army.
This is the Troubles. My bad. This one was the Troubles. But enough of these rebellions. Like, let the Parliament people handle it. Like, you're just bringing chaos to the streets. There's no good that will come from this.
In 1920, with the war still ongoing, a 4th Home Rule Bill was passed, superseding the 3rd Home Rule Bill that was passed but never implemented. This partitioned Ireland into Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland.
And that
Northern
passed.
Ireland consisted of 6 of the 9 counties of Ulster. This was despite 2 of them having a Catholic majority. The rest of the island became Southern Ireland. The split was intended to be a temporary solution to the war.
No, but it's the permanent solution, because that's how it is still today. And again, they said that a majority of the... It makes me think, how do the northern people feel? Because they were just, like, kind of given up, I guess. Because he just said that a majority of them are Catholic. But we know the British people were Protestant over across the ocean here. So they're Catholic people being ruled by a Protestant monarchy. How do they feel about that? The Northern Ireland people.
So Ireland would remain part of the United Kingdom with Home Rule, but instead of having 1 Irish Parliament in Dublin, there would be 2. 1 in Dublin for Southern Ireland and 1 in Belfast for Northern Ireland.
Oh. So they're still technically British, the entire island?
This was an attempt to meet demands of both Irish nationalists and Irish unionists. And while the Northern Irish government was successfully established, the Southern Irish government was not. The war continued and the Southern Irish government never functioned.
What the heck?
The Irish War for Independence lasted for 2.5 years, resulting in a ceasefire and the Anglo-Irish Treaty. The treaty established the Irish Free State, which would become a dominion of the British Commonwealth, along with the likes of Canada, Australia and South Africa, among others at the time.
Okay. So Commonwealth, to my knowledge, that still just means you're still ruled by the British. So the Republic of Ireland is still ruled by the British? Like, Australia is their own country, obviously. New Zealand, their own country. But at the head of their state is still the Queen. Just, okay, I guess. I feel like, couldn't you have just taken a vote and been like, okay, if you want to be if you want to be British, go up to the north. If you want to be Irish, go down to the south. And just divide the island in half. And that way you have your 2 functioning sides and everyone's where they want to be, happily. But then you would be like, okay, what if 10 years down the line, someone from whatever side says, oh, I want to go to the north, oh, I want to come down there. How would you handle that, though? Because people just can't be flip-flopping nationalities. That's not how it works. And say your grandpa from 10 years ago wanted to be British, but your family now wants to be Irish. How would that work? Okay, everybody gets to switch 1 time in your lifetime, and that's it. Sounds like a good deal to me. They should have did that.
The treaty included the whole island of Ireland but had an opt-out clause for Northern Ireland, which they immediately exercised, so the short-lived Southern Ireland became the Irish Free State. Some were happy with this situation, but others were not. many were unhappy that Ireland was still part of the British Empire.
Yeah, they're still, the head of the state is still the Queen. Because I always get comments like, don't refer to the Irish people as British, don't refer to Scottish people as British, everybody hates the English. But hell, throughout history, the Scottish people were fighting just as much with the British against Ireland. I don't get it. I guess the tide has turned in modern day time, but around the IRA days and the Troubles, the only people who were kind of fighting against the unionization were the Irish.
And wanted total independence.
Yeah.
So the Irish nationalists were split between the pro-treaty nationalists and the anti-treaty nationalists. The political party Sinn Féin split into two separate parties. Pro-treaty Sinn Féin that was happy with the status quo, and the anti-treaty Sinn Féin that sought full independence. And
I'd be anti. I mean, I'm American. We saw how that went. We fought the British and we won. We won our independence from those people. But yeah, I would be anti-treaty because literally nothing has changed. Just now you have a government that's not even in your region. It's in the north. You're still technically, I mean, you're not British, but you're still ruled by the Queen. Yeah, there's still no independence. I'm still being ruled by someone else, a whole different culture, a whole different nationality. I'd be anti-treaty. Let me know how you feel.
In the 1922 Irish general election, the two political parties that won the most seats were Sinn Féin and Sinn Féin, with the pro-treaty party winning more seats.
Oh, dang. Well, what was the point of fighting then if you were just going to settle with being still ruled by the Queen, or not even the Queen? I don't know who was ruling at this point, a man or a woman, but still being ruled by the English, basically. They've settled with it. So what was the whole point of the fighting? Because now I guess you do have a body of government, the Parliament of Ireland, but again, it's in the northern region of Ireland, which is okay with being British. I guess it's like the bare minimum, in my opinion.
The disagreement escalated into civil war.
Oh no!
1 year after the end of the War for Independence.
Ireland, what are you doing? Now you're fighting each other? You just got done fighting the British a year ago. Now you're fighting each other. Because you... Dang. Okay. Here's a theory. Divide the island into 3 parts. You've got the north, the people who just want to be British. You've got the southwest, the people who want to be Irish but are okay with being ruled by the monarchy. And then you've got the southeast, the people who just want to be Irish and independent completely. You've got your 3 different sections. Yeah. That makes me sad, though. The Irish people had a civil war. That's wild. We had a civil war, but that was mainly... People say it wasn't about slavery, but it was about slavery. But y'all were fighting about nationality. Like, are we British? Are we not? We don't want to be. We do want to be. So we're going to fight each other for it? That seems counterintuitive to me.
Many men who had fought together in Ireland's war for independence
fighting
were
each
now on
other.
opposing sides of a civil war.
No, guys.
The pro-treaty forces emerged victorious, affirming the status of the Irish Free State a British dominion.
So they lost again. Man, the anti-treaty people are down bad. Sorry.
After the war, the anti-treaty Sinn Féin refused to take their seats at the Irish Parliament.
No, you've lost. Just take the seats. You protesting is now just giving up all power that you possibly could have had.
Protest of the treaty. Because of this, their leader, Eamon de Valera, resigned from the party and founded a new political party, Fianna Fáil, and they became the dominant political party in Ireland from 1932 onward.
Oh. I'm Republican? Technically, over in Ireland? I have been thinking lately, like, just in America though, a lot of my views, I'm Democrat, but a lot of my views I am noticing do kind of more align with the moderate or Republican side. But I would never say that myself am a Republican. But a lot of my views that have to do with Irish government is Republican view, not Democratic. God, I'm a Republican. Oh no! What the heck? The Republican Party? Everything that I said throughout this entire video makes sense to me, but those are the Republican views? So did the Democrats just want to stop fighting? Like, I don't get it. Wouldn't you want to fight until the end for your own independence? Because really, the pro-treaty people didn't do anything. They're still just a part of... They're still British, essentially. Because they're still ruled by the Queen.
He strongly opposed the treaty as well, but thought his former party's tactics were not helpful.
They weren't.
In 1937, a referendum was held for a new constitution to remove all British ties from Ireland.
To remove all British ties from Ireland. That was the goal, right? So it should have been passed. Let's see if it was passed. I don't think it's going to be, though. I don't get what the Irish people are doing. Like, do you want to be independent or not?
56% of people voted in favour,
yes.
And Ireland adopted a new constitution, becoming a fully independent country.
Hey!
The country changed its name to
Just Ireland.
Just Ireland. The country is often referred to as the Republic of Ireland to differentiate its...
There we go. So you guys can no longer come for me whenever I just talk about Ireland. Because, again, in my mind, whenever I see that big old island, that's Ireland to me. I don't think about, oh, but the little tippy-top pot, the itty-bitty pot, they're technically British. I don't care. They're still Irish. They just have they're ruled by the English, I guess. They're still Irish, though. That whole thing is Ireland. When I talk about Ireland, I mean the island. That's it. I'm not distinguishing between, oh, but they're technically British. I don't care. They're Irish. The Republic of Ireland is still technically just Ireland. Bam. Man, y'all always got something to say, and I know I'm saying some crazy stuff, but I'm not dumb. They're Ireland. That's it.
Itself on the island of Ireland, but its official name is simply Ireland.
Yeah.
This would...
Ireland, the island. Ireland now is the country without the northern part, because they're British. But still, when I reference Ireland, I'm just talking about the island, like before.
Just to reflect the fact that Ireland's claimed territory was the entire island, believing the partition of Ireland to be illegitimate.
The national territory consists of the whole island of Ireland, its islands, and the territorial seas. Okay, so we got Irish Constitution. That's cool. We have an American Constitution. Article 2. So they're saying the entire island is Ireland, independent of the crown. But we know that's not what happened today.
Despite this claim, though, Northern Ireland continued as normal as part...
So those articles that they were passing, and it was voted on by the Parliament of Ireland, I'm assuming. So England is not, England and Scotland are not really paying attention to what they're doing down there. Because again, the northern part is still British. They're like, yeah, y'all keep voting, but it's just, no, we don't care. Like, the north is still ours. But to the Irish people, this whole thing is Ireland. There's a lot of, I can see how there's drama,
Part of the United Kingdom. Ireland exercised their independence by choosing to remain neutral in World War II, which...
What? That's not a time... I mean, even I'm kind of ashamed of America remaining neutral, because we didn't join the war until Pearl Harbor, when we were directly affected. I hope this wasn't just to, prove a point, because the entire world should have been against Adolf Hitler and what he was doing during World War II. This symbol went from being a peaceful, beautiful symbol to just disgust. This symbol is disgust. We hate fascism over here. So Ireland, why are you... Someone explain this. Ireland exercised their independence. That's not really proving your end. We don't have to join because we don't want to join. We're going to prove that to you. Okay, but nobody cares. At this point, what's happening now, everyone should be joining the fight against fascism. But to exercise their independence, they chose to remain neutral. Okay? Trying to, prove your power or something? I don't get it. Explain this, because this is wrong to me.
Started just 2 years later. And while that should be the end of the story, there were 3 decades of ongoing violence in the late 1960s to 1990s in a period known as the Troubles.
I thought the Troubles, though, were the IRA and the Irish people fighting England. What else is there to fight now? Are the Irish people still fighting each other? I want to check that out. From the late 1960s to the 90s, the Troubles? Is that part 2? You know how James Bond has different sequels? This is part 2 to the Trouble fight? Crime Stoppers. Man, I really do feel bad for the Irish, because from the 1500s, they've been having a rough time with it. They can't catch a break.
The violence is mainly concentrated...
At least they got potatoes. Potatoes are good.
in Northern Ireland, but occasionally spilled over into Ireland, England, and even mainland Europe.
Dang.
Although the majority of Northern Ireland's population was Protestant and Unionist, there was a substantial minority that were Catholic and nationalist and wanted Northern Ireland to join the Republic.
Leave them alone, guys. At this point, it's kind of like, it is what it is. Leave everything alone. If the Northern people wanted to, like, the Northern people can fight their own battle, you know? If they wanted hard enough to be separate from England or separate of Protestantism, they would be fighting themselves. The Republic shouldn't be fighting for the North. Like, because that's when this stuff happens. They're like trying to force the other people to join them. Radical. Republican. See, this is why I say I'm kind of like in the middle, but I lean Democrat. Because now I don't agree with this.
After 3 decades of conflict between various organisations and thousands of casualties, a ceasefire was called to put a stop to the violence in 1998 with the Good Friday Agreement. The agreement caused the Republic of Ireland to amend their constitution, removing the territorial claim over Northern Ireland.
Okay. Wait, sorry, I gotta go back. Who decided that? Because that's a big issue, because the Irish people thought they had the whole island, but it's not being, what's it called? It's not being recognized. The agreement caused the Republic of Ireland. Who had the agreement, though, is my question.
The Good Friday Agreement. The agreement caused the Republic of Ireland to amend their constitution, removing the territorial claim over Northern Ireland, and the British and Irish governments agreed that if a majority of people in Northern Ireland wish to leave the United Kingdom and join the Republic, the governments will make it happen.
Okay, so they can, anytime now, I guess, the North can decide, hey, we want to be a part of Ireland and not a part of Britain. But they haven't yet, so I guess they like being a part of Britain. But it's still fair to say, when I say Ireland, the entire island is Ireland. Technically. I mean, technically not, though, because they changed the article, but still, whatever. Whatever.
The lasting impact of the Troubles can still be seen today, especially in Belfast, in which there are walls that separate Protestant and Catholic communities, and there is still occasional violence. However...
That's sad, though, because it's one island. You're one people. You have to have walls to separate you. We don't have a wall with Canada. I mean, we have a bridge and, passport checks, but there's no wall separating us. They're trying to build a wall with Mexico, but that was nonsense from conservative side. I didn't agree with that. I don't agree with walls.
However, the situation is improving, and the government has made a goal to remove all of these so-called peace walls for the year 2023.
Yeah, because you're one people. Okay, this was an amazing video. I know there's going to be some, like, drama in my comment section because people aren't going to agree with everything I said, but just based off of the info we got from the video, I stand by everything I said. One, the island of Ireland is the whole island. It's just that the northern people, they're Irish, but they still want to be a part of Britain, and that's it. But at the end of the day, it's still one island of Ireland. There's a reason they call it the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. It's all Ireland. It's just people have different... They have the same ethnicity, they just have different nationalities, you know? But yeah, I'm still shocked by how the heck my views were Republican. If I went to Ireland right now, I would be considered a Republican. That's wild. Anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Should I do more of these, like, government or historical reactions? Let me know. I know that this one's almost 40 minutes long, though, so yeah. Hope you liked it.